Welcome to another ENTOTech tuning guide for adjusting the rotating arm of the INSpECTor. Even though the belt tension that controls the rotating arm is tight and operates smoothly, it may not be tight enough to hold its position once you let go of the knob. This is a combined effect of bearing preload that may loosen over time, or the belt stretching. By installing a paper shim, this can be corrected. You will need a pair of scissors, a 2mm Allen wrench, a pencil, a ruler, and a piece of standard printer paper. Let's start by removing the 2 screws on the top cap that will give you access to the bearings that will need to be shimmed. Remove the top cap and place it to the side. You can now see the internal belt and gear that control the arm. Don't worry about the loose belts on the arm. They will generally stay in their original place. From the side, when you press on the arm, you can see the bearings lift. The space beneath them is where we will be placing the paper shims. The bearings are 4mm wide. You can mark your paper directly or use a ruler to draw a line slightly smaller than 4mm before cutting the strip of paper. Cut the entire length of the paper. Double check that your paper is slightly smaller than the bearing. Most paper is very uniform and around 0.07mm thick. The shim should be between 0.2 to 0.5mm thick, so we will need to fold our paper 3 to 7 times, with each section being 10mm long. 5 folds is a good starting point. Make the folds continuous so you have a tight piece and crease the ends. You can also make a staggered shim. See the video description for the measurements. Press the arm up to create a space under the axle bearings. Tweezers can be helpful to insert the paper under these bearings. Flip the INSpECTor around to the other side and press down on the arm to create the space under the bearings. Make sure that the paper is centered. A small push with a pointed object can easily reposition it. Make sure the entire bearing axle assembly is centered. The bearings should protrude slightly beyond the edges on both sides. Rotate the arm. You should see and feel an improvement. If the arm is still sagging, you will need a thicker shim. Putting the belts in place, the teeth should face each other and twist inward toward the next bearings. The inner belt should have the flat side facing the axle bearing, and the outer belt should have the teeth facing toward the axle bearing. Grab the top cap and insert the idler bearing into the loose loop of the inner belt. You will feel the belt's tension as the top cap returns to its original position. Tighten the screws with the 2mm Allen. Be careful to not over-tighten these screws. The gap between parts will be slightly larger now, so try to make them even. The rotating arm should now be tensioned and able to hold its position when let go. Thank you again for watching. I hope this was informative and will keep your INSpECTor working for many years to come.